teachers. There was more looking out for the kids. And when they got into integration, I've heard a lot of kids say they were scared. They didn't feel like the white teachers cared about them.
Well, and you know, there are pros and cons on that issue. I can only share with you my experience when I was in school because I had all black teachers. And I will say I had some great black teachers. But I can also say there were black teachers who felt that black kids could learn. And so when we goofed off, and we all did, I know I did when I was growing up, they would make sure we got back on track. And if we didn't get back on track, they called our parents. And our parents, we knew that if a teacher called my mom, they didn't call my dad. They called my mom because they knew if they called my mom about any of us, my mom granted our teachers permission to spank us. And when we got home and opened that door, we got another one. So there was respect instilled in us that our kids, we're not getting now. We never talked back to my mother. We never talked back to her. I can remember when my dad would tell me things to do because when he became ill, somebody had to step up to the plate and take over his business. And my brothers, one of my brothers is very famous. I don't know if you all know him, but he made the song, I'm Going to Kansas City. And it was very, very successful. And so he was too busy selling his records and traveling all around the world to sing. My older brothers, they had families to take care of. And so here I am living at home with my mom and my dad and going to school. And I just felt that I was going to have to quit school to take over my daddy's business because my family had to survive. But the expectations that my parents had for us back then, I don't think the parents have of their children today. The expectation of us as students is different today. Mm-hmm. Because the teachers today do not have expectations for students that our teachers had. We weren't given anything. We had to actually learn. We had to actually produce, or we didn't make the grades. Mm-hmm. And so in my family, you don't bring no D's and F's home. That was a no-no in my family. And so we didn't talk back to my mom and my dad. Today, I think the problem is, in some instances, yes, we are better off. And I'll give you a good example. My granddaughter. All of my granddaughter friends are white. Because my granddaughter attended Osborne High School and Metz. And during that time, the school system was predominantly white. And so she was the first black to be the valedictorian and speak at graduation. All of my granddaughter's friends now pretty much are white. But we saw to it that she had the best of everything. We didn't leave it up to the school to do everything. So see, you have to have the school that's working with the parents. And so today, I think in some respects, we are better off. But then there are still some situations where I know we are just as bad as we were 20 years ago. Mm-hmm. Yeah. And when I go into these schools, and I look at, when I left D.C., when I retired, I got a call from D.C. Public Schools, and I was asked if I would come over and train their administrators, train their principals to turn those schools around. I stayed over there 2.5 years. Let me tell you, D.C. has some excellent schools. D.C. has some excellent teachers. But D.C. has some sorry teachers. And D.C. needs to start at the top. Because the principal set the tone of that building. The principal set the tone of the caliber of teachers he or she is going to hire. The principal must establish and have buy-in from all of his teachers. We're going to have expectations for every child that walks through this door. And if they don't perform, there will be some consequences. I can't say that's the truth for every school that I worked in over there.
Mm-hmm.
And so when I look at going to schools and I see some of the teachers who are just as cute and timid as they can be, some of the white teachers don't want to deal with black children. So as opposed to dealing with black children, I say they sweep them under the rug and let them get by doing nothing, and they pad the grades so they can move them on. We should not have social promotion.
Right.
And so I do feel we have made a lot of progress. Moving from a segregated school to an integrated school. I don't want to go back.
Mm-hmm.
I want us to continue to build on Martin Luther King's dream that you want quality education for every student, regardless of race, creed, or color. And you can do that with the right leadership, with the right commitment to education, with continued parent support, and with student buy-in. The students are the ones that are being educated. And these kids want to learn, but these kids are not dumb. These kids can tell if Alice Howard is real. These kids can tell if Alice Howard doesn't mean business. And they know what they can do to get by me and what they can't. And my students knew, and my teachers knew, that I wanted the best for my kids just like I had the best for me. And so my motto has always been that every child can exceed and every child will succeed under my leadership. Mm-hmm. And so no, I don't want to go back to those days. Mm-hmm. But there is still so much work to be done.
So why do you think this project that has been initiated by Congressman Connolly to collect testimonies of this era of segregation and Jim Crow, why do you think the Civil Rights Archive is so important?
I think it's very important because I think our younger generation needs to know from whence we have come. And they need, and I tell my granddaughter all the time, your education was totally different from mine. I need you to understand the struggles that I went through, the obstacles that I encountered, the racism, the sexism that I encountered that you never encountered. And I never want you to encounter what I encountered. But believe me, you would not be where you are today if it were not for your grandmother. And I applaud her. She went to VCU. She got her master's degree in nursing. She went to Johns Hopkins. She got her master's degree in nursing and forensic science. She's getting married next week. We're having a destination wedding in Punta Cana. And then she's coming back here, and she is going to pursue her doctorate degree.
Excellent.
And her husband, I interviewed him before they talked about getting married. I told him what her goals and objectives were, and his goals and objectives had to be like hers. He got his bachelor's degree from VCU. He got his master's degree from Howard University. He is now a speech pathologist in Baltimore, has his own speech business part-time in D.C., and I think he's a fit for her. And so I told the two of them they cannot have babies right now until the two of them pursue their last degree. So they both will be on the same level and be able to provide for their children like we provided for our children.
Well, Ms.
And
Howard,
I thank Congressman Connolly for taking on this initiative, because these stories need to be taped. They need to be a part of the archives because it's history. Mm-hmm. And history is continuing to change as we move forward. But you can't change the history that's behind us. Mm-hmm. And so I commend him and I commend the two of you for taking time out of your busy schedule to sit down and talk to me.
well, we want to turn the tables. We want to thank you for taking time out of your busy schedule. You have had quite a career, and to sit down and spend time with us to tell us about your struggles to get to those goals and objectives that you met. And it is people like you that allowed a person like me to get my education. So I want to personally thank you. And I want to thank you on behalf of Congressman Connolly for coming and spending time with us. I want to thank you on behalf of the Library of Congress, George Mason's Folk Life program, the libraries in Prince William and Fairfax County, where your testimony will be stored for future scholars, educators, historians, and those who want to learn about the struggle of the civil rights movement. So again, thank you, Ms. Howard.
Thank you all.